More baseball talk too, but now Canada's national summer sport. The St. Catharines Junior A Athletics regular season begins Wednesday night at home, Canada Games Park, and this season is a big one.
Everybody's talking, the buzz ain't just a beer. Radio man keeps saying this could be our year. Huddled up headlights, team colors cross the lawn. Don't matter where you're coming from, we're here to get it gone. It's that hometown crowd, yeah, it's in our blood. And even when the clock runs out, we still raise the cup. It ain't about that hat trick, home run, a big first down. Just looking for a little something we can rally around. Seat in your house, courtside or on the couch, we still get loud.
Our trip around the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League brings us to Brampton for Father's Day action, part of a triple header in the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League this afternoon. Earlier today, the Mimico Mountaineers winning 10-4 over the St. Catharines Athletics. Brampton Excelsiors will host the Toronto Beaches. Here's a look at the standings, which doesn't include breaking news. Burlington Blaze showing 11-10, an overtime victory over the Whitby Warriors. They'll drop to 7-2, and a big mess by the cut line. Matthew Carrick alongside Pat Gregoire to get this one kicked off for you.
I know you see this Brampton Excelsiors team down at the bottom at 1-7, but talking to Riley O'Connor, that coach of the Toronto Beaches, he said, hey, this is a team that always plays us tough. This is a tough building to come into. It's going to be hot. It's going to be sweaty. And they're going to really try to slow this game down.
Team that really has played pretty much everybody tough all season, as one of their three graduating players, Connor Blondin, drops a shoulder off the opening face-off, and we'll put it to the far side for Jacob Janke, the captain. Landon Jackal up top through Renaud, trying to return the pass here to Caden Merritt. Another one of those graduating players who could become very interesting this week. We're less than a week away from the trade deadline, midnight coming up on Saturday. Liam Aston through Hamish McPherson to the far side. Our first look on the featured game of the week at Willem Firth, wearing the captain's C here for the Beaches. He'll put it to the outside wall, throw the screen as the return comes back for Aston, who's drawn a more important offensive role. On the run, Peyton Booth, a revelation for this Beaches team, gets the first shot on Anthony Sedilot. Callum Witter quickly up floor, and the ball through the crease of Thomas Kazik. Getting the start today wearing his Saskatchewan rush gear. Can be seen from space. Those bright green gloves, but no mistake who he plays for in the winter.
Moving pick call there, so the possession going to stay here with Brampton.
Tyler Flake, Mark Sands, John Vandergiesen, your three officials, as Merritt has it again, working it around the horn. Back to the corner for Nate Renaud. Shoots on the run, reaching down to his left foot to stop. That was Kazik. Tyler Renner-Francis will cross center, sending it back towards the timeline. Hamish McPherson brings it in. Francis Renner going to stay on the floor now as the shot comes from McPherson. Off the shoulder of Sedilot and up out of play.
McPherson coming into his own, just little bit of a slow start coming from Maryland, so getting back inside the boards at his best game this season, 3 goals last game against KW.
Ethan finds from the outside. That hits off a Brampton defender. Actually, Janke playing a defensive shift. One-man switch here to bring Willem Firth back out onto the floor. Aston up top, they score. Caleb Tatarek, the first-round draft pick of the Beaches. And what a revelation he's been for Toronto this season.
Yeah, this is exactly why Riley O'Connor and Kevin Fines went out and drafted this kid last year. The guy just puts on his pants in the morning and scores goals from the outside. Just a slick release from the outside. He's a big body with a big shot, and he has been such a nice add to that already deadly left side.
It was interesting early on because it took Willem Firth a little bit to get back in the lineup from NCAA obligations. As Owen Tassi brings down the face-off, he's going to shoot wide. Kind of wondered on that left side what role Tatarek was going to play, but fits right in with the veteran Firth. Quite not a graduating player yet.
No, just 1 year a junior, played with the Green Gales of Junior B last year.
Here's Blondin leading the rush down to the corner, played back for Janke.
Big fan of Blondin's game. He's a big body.
Yes.
He can move the ball well, and you know what you're getting out of him every single game, and it's a lot of effort.
Christopher Da Silva, the other third of those graduating players, as Marshall shoots through a defender and scores. We're all tied up.
This one here, good job from Brampton's offense. Swinging the ball east-west. You're going to see it get over to the righties. Big, hard pick by Janke. And then it's a great release from Marshall, just getting his hands free, recognizing probably not going to get a lot of time and space in this game. When you do, you got to let it fly. Great finish.
Another face-off controlled by Tassi and the Beaches. Although hard defense played by Gabriel Kashera to get it back. It's going to roll into Caden Kublinskis. He's going to one-hand it up and over center. Kublinskis, big swim move, takes it to the crease, the twister. Does it all alone. What a play.
Hey Siri, show me individual effort. This is exactly what it is. Puts his flippers on, goes for a swim, twister finish. It's a guy out the back door getting it done, showing off his silky mitts. They're playing You Fancy in the building right now, and yes, Kublinskis, you are fancy indeed. What a nice goal there.
I believe part of playing KW last year. I know those two teams have been involved. There's been a ton of trades for Chris Lowe and Pat O'Toole over the last couple seasons. None bigger than the just inside the deadline trade that sent Connor O'Toole and Dante Bowen and Bowie Horseman up to the eventual championship winning Orangeville Northmen.
But good on this Brampton team. They made those moves. They still were able to be uberly competitive. They make the playoffs, and I think they felt really good going into this season with making those moves for the future. Just unfortunate for them. They've been on the wrong side of some really close games.
Outside shot to Tarek, trying to do it again. An errant shot clock sounds here in the building, but play continues on as now it's over and back. And Chris Lowe lamenting to me beforehand that they just really have not had their top 18, top 20 guys in the lineup at all yet this season. Have Brampton finally starting to get some guys healthy, including Carson Robbins playing his first game tonight. As Da Silva will turn the corner and send a skipper in on Kazik. He'll hang on. It gets caught in that left pad, but as you were saying, Patty, the results probably could be a lot better than they are. 1-7 coming into today. Firth out to the outside boards. Last man on, Hunter Lubinecki. He'll pass it back to the near side for Aston. Firth has it again. And now Aston, he'll shoot through a crowd. That hits something. And then the glass and then the official bringing it down his booth. Still with it despite being swarmed. And shot clock expires here on the Beaches. Janke up the far side. These Excelsiors leading 2-1 here, 5 minutes into this opening period. As this is Carson Robbins working it to the far side. Alex May back to Renault. Pick from Robbins, he'll shovel it back up top. That had a couple players ducking for cover as it headed for the shot clock.
Great shot there, just not the best selection, just goes a little bit too high there. I think one of the Beaches defenders might have jammed him up there. That was a good little two-man game. Really like what we're seeing out of Brampton early on in their 5-on-5 settled offense.
Lubinecki back to the corner. Booth will wheel it around, back down to the crease. And into the crease, Ethan Fines got swarmed as the ball arrived.
I think that one there, nice backdoor cut from Fines. He just gets the ball passed to him already when he's past the crease. Really not much space or real estate there. Got to give credit for Brampton for taking that away.
Here's Merritt to the outside. Little late reaction from Kazik. There was room 5-hole, but able to close the legs quickly.
And that's the shot that this Beaches defense are totally fine with giving up.
First looking to go cross floor. That tips off the stick of a defender up at a plate. Possibly Riley Knox as McPherson. Back into Firth, works himself into a shot, and I don't even know that Settilot saw it. It just sort of bounced off his equipment and into the corner.
Yeah, it's not often Firth misses from there at all.
Just so used to seeing that over the past couple years, it almost looked automatic. Lubinecki to Firth again, and this time it's De Silva that gets in the lane.
And Brampton doing a really nice job defensively getting into lanes, whether it's blocking shots or tipping passes. They know they got to close the gap when 14's got the ball in his stick.
McPherson taking the shot this time. Got through on the mark. Heads up Austin Owens there, just ducking out of the way. Looking at the spot where he thought it went up out of play, giving it to the official. So much for unbiased member of the media, Renault.
During the summer season, he bleeds blue and gold, and I think he makes that very clear.
Bleeds orange and purple in the winter, too. Make no mistake about that. While we were giving him the gears, the ball bounces into the Beaches bench. So they'll get a fresh 30 seconds. Through to Tarek. Down to Firth. Liam Aston. Shot in on Settilot and crouches over the top. One in a very quickly growing list of French players coming out of the North Shore Kodiaks program and out of Quebec, who have found their way through the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League. Outside shot. Marshall's going to rip. Already has one. That one fooled Kazik, and this is going to be a huge rugby scrum in front of his crease looking for the loose ball. Finally picked up by Owen Vivian, the other draft pick revelation for this Beaches team. William Aston puts it to the outside boards. Lubinecki being chased now. Puts it to the corner. McPherson wheeling through the middle. Booth. A lot of back and forth action. Good offensive set there, but ends up with a save for Brampton, although the Beaches will get the rebound. McPherson, far side. Moved back to Lubinecki. Up top to Tarek. Spins off a check. Peyton Booth. He gets a step on his man. Goes to the crease. Having to wait for it to come out was Lubinecki. That gave the defense time to catch up, but they can't keep it away from Booth out in the corner.
It's not often we see an offensive possession for the Beaches, and number 14's not on the turf now. They take advantage here, get him back out on the floor.
Looked like they were going to go one-on-one over there in the corner and isolate Firth, but ends up with Aston taking a shot straight down Main Street. Kudlinskis quickly all the way down floor, missed Ethan Vivieros on the run. Inside a minute away from the halfway mark of the period.
Long night and long day for Vivieros. Played for the Junior B team earlier this afternoon. They just had 15 runners. So he is certainly getting his steps in here on Father's Day.
Close those rings
I think the rings might have been closed in the second period last game, to be honest, Matt.
Opponents made him run, did they?
Yeah, a little bit,
All right. Renault to Marshall off the bench. Alex May to the outside. Marshall sends a rising shot from the restraining line. Nearly got his own rebound, but too late in the clock to do anything with. Of course, Brampton Junior Bees, are we allowed to say, playing West Durham Ironheads this afternoon?
Yes, I mean it's a fact, right?
Firth off the corner, stepped in the crease, full splits by Sedilot.
I tell you, Sedilot's really seeing the ball well here this afternoon.
Janke up over center, Merritt off the bench, he'll rip a shot. May have caught Kazik leaning, but missed to the outside left of the net. Had West Durham Ironheads were going to work their way in somehow. We just might as well get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way. Everyone's all right. Take a sip of whatever you're drinking at home. Probably won't be the last time.
Oh, it's Father's Day. There's been many sips already. Don't you worry. Shovel shot here from McPherson. Under 10 on the clock. As this one's going to go back to Kishera, and a 3-on-1 coming up for Brampton. The pass over to De Silva from his wrong side, and then it bounced over the head of two of those three Brampton defenders, meaning numbers back the other way for Beaches, and now everything will pump the brakes a little bit.
And I know the Beaches like to play fast, push the ball in transition, but that's a play there where it is a smart play. Get your offense back out there. Get back into the swing of things.
Tarek down to Firth in the corner. He'll come across floor to Lubinecki. To Tarek. Shot there, didn't miss the top of the net by much, but it does bounce away from the crease and up into the safety netting.
I tell you, I get it. The Beaches have some very good shooters from the outside, but through the first 12 minutes here, just far too perimeter. They got to find a way to get to the middle of the floor.
Caden Merritt being chased off the restraining line. Caused his defender to lose his stick, and from the outside, Landon Jackal trying to shoot through everybody. Bounced off the end boards, back near center, where they're still trying to decide who's going to get the rebound. It was Vivieros who shoots it off Kazik. Vivieros will chase the loose ball again as it rolls into the corner. He gets knocked down, and it'll go the way of the Beaches. Much to the delight of their bench off to our right-hand side. Caswell Friedman starting the counterattack. Bright red gloves from Firth. Ball follows him back to the front of the crease. Couldn't get a good shot away. And now it's lifted all the way down floor, but out of the reach of Owen Scott as it bounces down in on Kazik. Two offenses that looked a lot different last year. That 22 was Nolan Byrne, who's found himself a pretty good home out in Whitby. And there was a lot more big bodies as McPherson shoots. Think of Collison and others that were part of this Beaches lineup. Going back to their Minto Cup run in 2022. Helen Witter back near center. May have touched the line, did not go over. Here's Janke. Owen Taze on him. Robbins is in a big battle here with Vivian as Renault arrives on the scene, shoots wide, and it'll just be lifted up into the safety netting with the shot clock trickling down. Under 7 minutes to go here in the first period. Hunter Lubinecki from the outside. Beach is trying to find the equalizer here, looking back to Lubinecki. A little bit of I got it, you take it between him and Booth. As now Tatarek has it far side and going to pick the rebound with Sedilot. What a shot from McPherson, didn't miss by much. Bouncing ball, Scott will bring it back down. Crosses center, Renner Francis on him. Stumbles as it's played back to Jackal now. Landon Jackal. Takes a bump, now a couple slashes before passing off to Nolan Marshall with one of the two Excelsior goals, looking to find a streaking Vivieros off his stick and into Kazik. Firth off the bench. Lowers his shoulder down into Kablinskis. We'll wait for Tatarek to come off the bench. Back towards the corner, little pick and roll action. Didn't get the return pass. Lubinecki, though, jumping on the near side of the crease. The east-west pass. Janke back the other way. Another odd man rush for the Excelsiors, low shot. And Kazik down to meet the Kablinskis offering. Real impressive game from number 3 so far in this first period.
He's been all over the floor, showing some explosiveness in transition.
Firth. There's that outside shot, and there's usually the result from big number 14.
This is something we'll see a lot with this Beaches team. They're going to get it over to Firth. Firth's going to sweep the top here, get it down to the righties, and he's just going to continue here, takes that shot from the wrong side of the floor, and that's just a perfectly executed shot. The parallels to the other 51 that played for Cornell, where's his number? Down with the big red, Jeff Teat. There are so many similarities, and I know that might be sacrilegious inside this building here, but you could see the parallel. With that release there, it almost looks exactly the same. Every time he shoots that ball, it just, goaltenders have such a hard time reading that shot.
One of those guys, you said wrong side of the floor. I don't think Willem Firth has a wrong side of the floor. Because as you said earlier, that's usually the result. And yes, those red gloves from Big Red. He's going to do it again. Big Red hot is Willem Firth.
We'll see Firth's second goal here, but look at all the hard work you see from McPherson, and we just praise Klobinskis for how great of a game he's playing. He's got to close that gap, though. Got to get out to hands. I know it's a great hard seal set by McPherson there, but just too much time and space for number 14.
Waiting for it to update officially. 21 seconds apart between the two goals by Willem Firth. And just like that, the Beaches have a 1-goal lead after trailing 2-1 for most of this period. To the outside, Carson Robbins. Shot gets through, rebound into the stick of Jaden Maseko. Closing in on 4 minutes left in the period.
Looks like they're going to go strong lefty here with Tatarek, Firth, and McPherson.
I think the first time we've seen a strong lefty set up, and it's for the shot from Firth from roughly the same spot. This time, Setilat gets the better of number 14, who's got a little bit of tape covering the name bar. Tape starting to come off, kind of looks like a Superman cape as he runs along the floor, somewhat fitting. As Jackal gets a couple chances, one taking him into the crease.
Looks like our first penalty coming up here is Vander Giesen with his hand up, so the extra attacker will come out on the floor for the Beaches.
Any of these guys doing double duty today?
None of these guys, no.
Okay.
At least not for the game that was
not
here
in
earlier.
this building, yes.
There's a good chance somewhere across this province they could have been.
Firth back to Lubinecki. 5 left to shoot. Firth fakes it for a second time. Back across to McPherson, who does rip. And we will get our first penalty of the game, a holding the stick call coming up here against Brampton. Game we did last night, yesterday afternoon, a 2 p.m. start time allowed a couple of the officials to get themselves up to Orangeville and do Junior A afternoon, Junior B nighttime. And I know there's a lot of that going on in the province.
As you can see there, Chase Smith gets his stick yanked from Jackal behind the play. Those are those penalties that will just drive coaching staffs nuts. 200 feet from your own net.
Ouncer coming back towards the center line. Shot clock continuing to tick down here on the Beaches. No over and back as it was tipped by the Excelsiors, though. 5 left. They'll give it to Firth. And hard pass into the corner. Off the stick, I believe, of McPherson before going up and out of play. Kublinskis. To slow it down, he'll give off here. Alex May now to Janke. Closing in on the 2-minute warning here in our first period. Scheduled for 3:20s. Big tie up in the middle. Robbins getting worked over. As is May, who comes across the set of screen. Janke will run back to the near side of the floor, near the safety of his bench with the shot clock winding down and content to kill 30 seconds of this penalty. 3 lefties set again. McPherson's going to take top spot down to Firth in the corner. Imagine he's not going to stay there long. Comes up to the shooter spot, down to the crease, twister. Got it in on Senilot. Rebound back to Brampton, in and out of the stick of Kublinskis. Beaches with a fresh 30.
And Beaches, all they do there is throw that double screen just to free up space for Firth.
Now the quick stick down low. Willem Firth grabs his own rebound and will work to the top quarterback spot. Liam Aston no shot. Firth does. Tatarek will chase, and 4 straight money possessions here. That one changed direction on Aston after hitting something in the middle.
I was going to say, I do think that Aston threw a little bit of a twister there, but I do think it did go off a stick, as the Beach is just going to hold on to the ball here, not force anything. And they'll start once the defender now gets back into play.
Bouncer in front. Picked up by Nolan Candy. He's off to the races. Wrong side. Off the bar. Candy ties it in transition. 2 of the 3 Excelsior goals on the run here this afternoon.
The Brampton Excelsiors giving the Beach a little taste of their own medicine. This is how cruel the game of lacrosse could be. Just a glorious chance at one end, and Candy picks up the loose ball, goes end-to-end, fakes the pass, goes bar and in. A finish sweeter than Candy indeed. We're tied up at 3.
So crossbar down, bar Mexico. Side post and in the back. Bar New Brunswick? What do we call that?
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. I like that one.
Slashing call off this face-off. There was a ton of action as they tried to figure out who was going to win it, and it's going to be Maseko that heads off.
And Maseko going to sit down for 2 or less here. Like you said, a lot going on. He tries to win the face-off, goes right into Merritt's stick. And it's going to be the slash right there down while Merritt's on the turf. I think the Beaches wanted a cross-check there from Merritt, but they're not going to get it.
Renault will take top spot to the corner for Janke. Inside 30 seconds left to go in the period. Renault looks off the shot. It is taken there from Marshall. He'll grab his own rebound in a fresh 30-second shot clock non-factor with only 15 remaining in the period. Merritt to Renault. Jackal opening space. Hard shot from up top. Kaiser corrals it and keeps it in his crease. Still have to get it over center in 8. And they do, and that's going to be about all she wrote here for period number 1 as Marshall grabs one last rebound, and we'll get a high sticking call on the tail end of it for good measure. So Brampton are going to start this period. Start the second period up 2 men as they're tied with Beaches 3-3 after 1.
Marshall just all over, I think that's Tassi. Tassi rides up the shoulder right into the front of the officials. He doesn't love it one bit. I know Coach Riley O'Connor probably does not love that first 20 for his group, but on the flip side, Brampton, you've got to be pleased. I'm sure Pat O'Toole pretty pleased with that effort, tied 3-3, but they certainly at some points controlled the pace of this game.
Got a bunch of games coming up this week, including Tuesday and Wednesday. Saturday will be on the air as trades start to break at the trade deadline of the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League. Be sure you're subscribed here. We've passed the 6,000 subscriber mark, so thank you to everybody who's already done that, and share it around. Hit the like button. The algorithm will post more of these videos to your feed as they come around. 3-3 after the first period between the Beaches and Excelsiors. We'll take a 10-minute timeout and talk to you. For the second period, you're watching the featured game of the week in the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League.
Gatorade. With electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing.
Let's go, raise up one time, go get it, it's yours, let's shine, come on.
Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
You can catch the fun with lacrosse, Canada's national summer sport. Everyone can experience the excitement of lacrosse, where fun meets fitness and friends are made. Lacrosse is one of the youngest organized sports children can play. And with 66 clubs throughout Ontario, everyone can get in on the fun. Visit playlacrosse.com. Our interactive map will help you find a lacrosse club in your area. Join the Ontario lacrosse community today. Ask a parent before going online.
Back live in Brampton where we've got a 3-3 score after one early lead for the Beaches on this goal from Caleb to Tarek. But then after that, back-to-backers from Brampton, Patty.
Yeah, Brampton continues the prowess from the outside. We saw one from Tatarek. This time, Marshall gets his hands free, buries it. We're tied up at 1. But then it's the athletic ability from Brampton. One of the nicest goals you'll see in transition. Swim move and a great finish on the crease with a twister from Caden Kolbinskis. And then the outside prowess would continue for the Beaches. As who else but Willem Firth gets the ball from the wrong side, right side, doesn't matter what side. When that guy's got the ball in its stick, they take a lead. And what was it, Matt, 20 seconds later?
21,
Firth
yes.
Gets the ball, Kolbinskis can't close the gap. And the Beaches with the blink of an eye take the lead, but transition would be a theme once again as Nolan Candy takes it in transition, goes barring in, and that's how we tied this thing up at 3.
Remember, the Excelsiors will start this period 5-on-3 by way of killing off a penalty, being on the power play at the end of that period, and then Owen Taze, like you said, taking a high stick right at the horn. So they will keep Da Silva back at center as the safety valve. Nolan Marshall, no shot. Back to Renault behind his back. Merritt trying to pass through the crease and off the shoulder of Kazik, who got in the way. 50 seconds remaining on the initial penalty. Brampton's 3 goals coming off 14 shots in that first period, 3 off 20 for the Beaches, who will slow things down here with Hamish McPherson cutting back through a double team. Trying to kill time on the penalty, shoots with 3 seconds left on the clock, and that takes the penalty time down to 25 seconds as Brampton will set up. Marshall to the corner for Janke. Back to Nate Renault. They've got Merritt looking for a pass down in the corner. Quick stick, and yes, did get it in, but well, official had a better look than we did. Kazik pulled it out of his pads, but over the line here for a 4-3 lead.
A lot of the time on these 4-on-3 power plays, you'll just see teams just try to find that open man. You could see Janke was calling for it earlier to go to Merritt. Finally, he gets the ball, hands it off to Merritt on the back door, and it's an easy finish that gives Brampton a 4-3 lead, and they're going to stay on this power play for at least 35 seconds.
I was about to say the most important part of that goal. It came with about 6 seconds left, so still 25 seconds of power play time. Jackal going to Renault. More traditional 5-on-4 setup as Jackal sets the screen here for, Renault running in. Jackal gets a bouncer and then gets shoved into the crease from behind. Interference called with 11 seconds left to go. Merritt for Marshall to Janke. See if the Excelsiors want to shoot. Not yet. They're going to wait for the penalty to expire fully. Merritt now to Renault. Back to 5-on-5. Low shot from Marshall was rising as the goaltender went down. Ball in the crease. Janke trying to go in there after it, which you can't do here in the OJ. And a penalty behind the play. Jaden Maseko getting into Janke. He'll get called for the high stick.
Again, one of those penalties 200 feet from your own crease will just drive a coaching staff crazy. As Maseko and Janke get tied up, and it's just that extra shot right up into the face. Brampton's going to get another chance on this man advantage.
Effectively their third of this period, which is only just over 2 minutes old. Pass too hot to handle for, well, I was going to say for Marshall, but everybody else on the floor except for Merritt. Going to take an outside rip here. That one misses everything. Got past Marshall as well. And thought that should be over and back, but
I thought so too.
Seti Lot will give here to Jackal.
And because of that, Firth went out the front door. Quick change the other way. He's got to play the top of the power play. The penalty kill.
Don't hear a lot of stick taps from off to our right, but not a whole lot of disagreement. As Merritt will bring this back down, low shot, saved by Kazik, so moot point, and now it's a two-man breakout, including Will Firth, who is on his wrong side, and yes, he does not have a wrong side. Hat trick for number 14. Where have you heard that before?
Don't know if this was by design that Firth got stuck out on the kill or not. Let's chalk it up to good coaching, but you see Firth, Warnowski gets it over the far side, and that's probably one City a lot wants back. But again, with Firth coming down that far side, is such a tough shooter to figure out where that ball is going.
Usually in the back of the net.
Yeah.
As we've seen him do 3 times here, making up for lost time. It took him a while to come back from Cornell, who, as we know, went as deep as you can get into the playoffs. Coming home with a ring as well. Owen Scott pushed outside. Was told he likes to spend some time at home as well, playing as far away from home as he does here for the Beaches through the summer. Spent not only a late run, but then took about a week or more back at home before coming to Junior A. And I mean, he is quickly working his way up through the leaderboard in points and goals here in the OJ, despite missing about 3 weeks. Marshall from the outside says, "Don't forget about me." He'll score on the power play.
I know this is his second goal, and this one's on the power play, but this is a mirror image from his shot. Different part on the floor, but again, just a quick in and out. He's got that high release, which Kazik unable to track where that ball's coming from. As Marshall gets his second of the game, this time on the power play.
Riley Knox, Jacob Janke should get assists on that goal. That makes it 5-4 here for the Excelsiors. Christopher De Silva came up with the face-off and dropped a couple more times. The 8 count is on. It's at about 11 now. Beaches finally get the possession change. Willem Firth quickly back out there. Lubinecki to set the screen. That'll work it to the boards. Firth has it again. Big double seal in front of that Peyton Booth shot. That blasts off the end boards. Out in transition, De Silva. In and out of the stick. And Beaches will go back the other way. Aaron Eberhard leaves it on the floor here with Booth as he'll head off in favor of the offense. 5 minutes gone here in the period. Firth with it. Works it back to Tatarek, and look out, they've got Nathan Smith headed all the way down floor. Had to wait on the bounce pass from Sedilot. And couldn't break out. Good, the young man from Cleveland. Here's Renault. Big slash on the hands of May on the near side. Meanwhile, Renault couldn't break through. Ball pops out, and we've got Francis Renner headed down floor in transition, and he couldn't pick it up. May getting back to Jackal. And Renault. Last one off the bench will be Marshall. 3 points already in the game for Marshall. Riley Knox shoots all over top of everybody here on the near side. Now Sheldon Broughton will pick up. Firth. From straight up top, David Peterkin with the recovery, and now Firth will slow it down to McPherson. Running through, Aston on the crease, ran himself out of space, and the rebound will be put back here to the half boards, where half the pile got knocked down. Firth at the bottom of that. As the ball goes away in the stick of Nolan Candy. One-on-one with Winarski as they cross center. Candy trying to cross it back floor, and Cleanly intercepted. It's Peterkin. It's funny, the other 3 Beaches players on the floor kind of hurrying their way through, little haphazardly throwing picks. Just the calmness that Firth grabbed that pass with. Now an errant shot. A loose ball battle that Callum Witter is going to send down floor. One of the better loose ball takers in the league. All of that on Beach's shot clock, so they had to quickly return it. Got to admit, I got fooled by the ripple of the mesh. Wondering how that happened, but Ethan Vivieros, the magic trick.
The old soccer mom goal, as Nick Ocello likes to call it.
Going first from the outside. Soccer mom goal on Father's Day. We'll take it. Brought down by Gabriel Kishera. That's a better, more traditional shot from the Excelsiors that time, is working back through everybody was Chase Smith. Ball down at the crease, and in it is going to be the call from the official. So the Excelsiors will get a fresh 30, 8 minutes into this period. Excelsiors hanging on to a 1-goal lead, 5-4 right now. Broughton all over Owen Scott back near center. Broughton's going to win that battle into Kalen Monder. Chases it back towards center, and Witter's there. Scoop up a possession here for Brampton yet again. Down the boards, Marshall. And Janke. He'll wait for the rest of the offense. Marshall back to Merritt. Into the far corner for Jackal. Marshall outside the restraining line. Janke headed to his right. Sidearm shot as he did so. Peterkin will pick it up. Isaac out of the crease to throw the screen, and Beaches are headed down floor with a fresh 30 seconds, although Janke trying to upset the play.
I know the OJLL doesn't keep time on floor stats, but Jacob Janke would be all the way up there. It seems like this guy just does not get off the floor. And that's a good thing, because he can play both sides of the floor.
Firth, ball crisscrossing here, finds McPherson. After the steady lot save, there's going to be 2 Excelsiors breaking out. Kublinskis headed down floor again, but this time Brampton's going to wait and let Robbins and Merritt take it. Those 2 will work over on the left side. Merritt still with the ball. Robbins trying to create space, and tip drill didn't quite work as Robbins now one-handing it away from high pressure from Francis Renner. Bouncer in on Isaac. Did just beat the shot clock, but there was a player in the crease for the violation. Halfway through regulation time, Firth over the top. Back for Tatarek. Blasted off the white mask of Sedilot. Told his defense partner he was good. Official's going to go check on him now, as his offense has the ball down here with Jackal. Owen Scott heading off in favor of Ethan Vivieros. Nolan Marshall with it now. He wants to slow things down as there's 6 Beaches defenders out in the set. That's going to be a too many men call. How about some 6-on-6 here, Patty?
The rare 6-on-6 lacrosse.
I got to call a 6-on-6 goal in last year's President's Cup, or 2023, I guess. Was that with you? I think Shanny and I did that.
Shanny,
that was an early game,
yeah.
So how about 4 power plays now for the Excelsiors in this game? Yeah.
Count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know the Olympics are coming up, and everyone wants to talk about 6s. Let's settle in here, fellas.
Marshall to Knox. In the corner, Janke. I'm not going to start the international debate. Cross floor.
I can see the comments flooding already.
Merritt Marshall. Back to Robbins, who shoots. Looked like Isaac wasn't really sure where it was, bouncing around near the 5-hole there. But eventually he does find Tassi.
And not much doing there on that 5-on-4 power play set. Just a little bit of an open set, trying to find an open lane.
Well, first to the outside corner. McPherson trying to find a cutter. Lubinecki has to wait for the shot for his teammate to clear out of the crease. Shot clock had reset inadvertently. And now it does for real on the shot. Latest edition of Lacrosse Classified had that international debate with Jonathan Donville as their guest this week. I know you took some heat.
I usually do. On
right.
that program, but yeah, a little more this week than normal.
I got my shout out. That's all I cared about.
Yes, you did.
Jacko from the outside. Marshall gets the reset and then runs into his teammate Renault trying to set up. Renault will shoot from the outside looking for the 5-hole on Kaizek, and that ball stayed in the crease, but now Merritt nearly poked it back in that direction. Again, Beaches only have 8 to clear center, and they do. Eventually getting it into the stick of Peterkin. 15, sorry.
I have no idea how that was not 8 seconds. I don't know.
Yeah, we've entered a time warp here in Brampton where they're a little longer than other rinks, I think, here this afternoon. First shot off the shoulder of Sedilot just climbs over the glass. And that should do it for the penalty, which only has a handful of seconds left. Beaches will be right careful with this, you would assume. To Tarek. Finding Firth up top. I want to say he's cooled off as of late. To Tarek's outside shot. I also know that's going to jinx somebody.
Yep. That's how it works.
Held my breath as the shot was taken by Tatarek, but I also know Willem Firth in danger of heating up again just as quickly as things seem to have settled down. De Silva on his way to the crease. Got enough of a shot to reset the clock. As here's Janke. Good job by Friedman to blow through the screen as Janke puts it back to De Silva far side. Chris De Silva outside the restraining line. Back now to Viveiros. He'll go from way outside. Didn't miss the corner by much. His own rebound diving through. Renault to pull the rebound down and had a man on him, but the Excelsiors will get another money possession here. It's a lot of banging and appreciation underneath our broadcast position. Janke has room, takes the shot. Didn't miss the far post by much. Rebound came back and hit Broughton in the back, but it's back with the Excelsiors. High to Viveiros, late in the clock. Kaizek with the save as there's some shoving off to his left. He'll hang on and now give to the Beaches with under 6 to go here in period number 2. 5-4 Excelsiors lead. I already saw a couple shocking upsets, perhaps, for some people on the day with Mimico beating St. Catharines. To Tarek outside rip, has enough to bounce up into the corner. His second of the game will tie things up here.
It's a nice little set piece. You can see Firth's going to roll to the middle, and it looks like that's where the play's going to go to, but instead it gets to Tatarek. Little fadeaway from the hefty lefty. Real nice finish for his second goal of the game. I think that's one thing that has been a big benefit for Tatarek coming into his rookie season is with the addition of Willem Firth back into this lineup, it really allows him to get a little more space, not just the space that he creates, but everyone's really keying in on number 14.
So the point I was making before I was rudely interrupted, Burlington would move to 3 and 8 there. That would put them just under the cut line. With Mimico moved to 3-6 with their win over St. Catharines. 7-2 would be Whitby in that third place spot, which means it's an important game for the Beaches as well, who can move into that 7. Standings are a mess this year. Goodness.
It's going to make it all that much more fun coming down the stretch. And I think one thing that might hurt is the fact that there's so many teams still in the hunt for
Yes.
this playoffs. I don't know how crazy of a trade deadline we're going to have.
Well, I thought the same thing last year,
Good
and it
point.
was really going to take that one team to blow it up with 9 grads on Oakville. That team doesn't really exist this season.
You're right.
Here's Tatarek to the outside. A team like Burlington does become very interesting. You got a couple good ones, including Chuck Rawson. Trying to think if there's any graduating goaltenders that might be available, but this may be one of those seasons where GMs start to look outside of the province.
Oh, I certainly think so. I do know so that conversations are already happening out in BC, trying to add some great talented players.
Marshall Janke outside shot off the leg of the high defender Broughton. Good eat, don't rub it indeed. Shot clock violation.
You talked about that trade deadline coming up next week. The BC deadline's the following week after that. So Ontario teams do have an extra week to add some talent from the West Coast.
Because of the time zone change.
Yeah, exactly.
I know how that works, yep. Willem Firth back to Hamish McPherson, who, by the way, has 3 assists on the 5 goals. Picks up a good rebound here. Give him 4 as it's buried on the crease, and he's just about as fired up as the goal scorer.
Another great apple, and this one might be the best one. Comes across the top, takes that shot, has the wherewithal to win this loose ball battle, finds Booth all alone on the crease. I know Booth is from south of the border, but showing off some Canadian mitts there on the crease. Great finish, and the Beaches regain this lead.
Mander brings down the face-off for the Beaches, who are leading for just the second time in this game. Took a 3-2 lead off those back-to-back goals in the first period by Firth before the Excelsiors tied it back up at 3. Sending us to the rooms. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left to go here. As the ball is bouncing around, finds with it from the outside, Lubinecki. Foiled by the shot clock. Dropping the shoulder here is Witter. He'll get stopped in his tracks just past his own bench. And the chin strap popped off, so he's got to head off and give up the ball. Friedman, straight down Main Street, takes a hit and scores.
Friedman was one of these diamond in the rough pickups for this Beaches team, a California kid. For what he lacks in experience in the box game, he makes up with athleticism, enthusiasm, and we'll see it all right here. Fights through a couple of hard checks. And I'm not too sure if he tried to go high to high over the left shoulder of City Lot, but looked like he got a little bit jammed up, but we're going to call that one a goal scorer's goal.
Here's Willem Firth, biggest lead for either side here in this game today is Firth. We'll pull it back down. A twister headed to the crease. Senilot the save, but his pass intercepted. Back to the crease again. Firth, far side. And Winarski stopped by the Montreal netminder. Firth has it again, though. Very slowly and deliberately coming into the defensive end. Lost it there. Lubinecki, the only one who could find it. And I'm not sure he got the shot away. Senilot trying to save him the ball and everything else. Knox blows up Broughton on a screen as it's starting to get spicy down there. Firth all alone scores. A little dash of spice at the end. Firth with his 4th.
Broughton's not going to get charged with an assist here, but he takes the charge. As there's the moving pick. Bernard's going to pick up this loose ball, quick whistle, and finds the best option possibly in Ontario, maybe in Canada, maybe the planet right now, as it goes right into the stick of Willem Firth, gets another one on the board, and now the Beaches are really starting to roll.
That's 3 in quick succession, 4 in a row. If you go back to the Teteric goal, so quick that the online scoring is one behind. Merritt to the outside. Renaud steps in, and this is part of the issue with playing the Beaches team. They've got Thomas Kazik back there, so as the rock is rolling downhill, you can't do much to stop that energy. Francis Renner to the outside, Firth cutting through. They'll look him off. Just outside of a minute and a half left to go is Teteric's shot. Bounces off the end boards, and look out as Kashera is headed out in transition. Shoots and scores. Make it 3 transition goals on the evening for the Excelsiors, who pull back within 2.
This Excelsiors team just does not go away, and once again, the game of lacrosse is cruel as Teteric misses a great chance. Ball squeaks out and squeaks through. As you mentioned it, partner, this Brampton team playing fast and furious out the back door. Their 3rd goal in transition. Gabe Kashera getting credit with that one. He's had a couple of chances here tonight. Finally rewarded with one.
By the way, 4 Beaches goals in 3 minutes and 21 seconds to take what was an 8-5 lead. 8-6 now after the Kashera goal. Up top, McPherson headed to the net. That one hit something on its way through, and it's going to cause a shot clock violation. De Silva wants to take off running again inside the last minute here in our second period. Ball out of the stick of De Silva, picked up by the Beaches, who are off and running far side of the floor again. Eberhardt coming in. Witter couldn't catch up as it's picked up by Firth, and Blondin got there just in time to knock it away. .3 on the clock on the turnover, and the quick and immediate timeout call from underneath us on the Brampton bench.
And you can hear on the right side here with the Beaches, Riley O'Connor calling for the timeout. Unfortunately for them, possession went the other way.
This will be a Willem Firth highlight reel of his 4-goal evening so far. Bunch of them are going to look exactly the same, Patty.
Yeah, these next 2 right here, that one from the wrong side of the floor, this one here, a quick hard release goes high to high over that left shoulder. This one in transition, where Narski on the wrong side of the floor, right side of the floor. We'll call it the Firth side of the floor because he gets one in transition, and then he's going to get another one in transition as well for his 4. That's the one thing about Firth. He's not just one of these catch and release guys that scores a bunch of goals. We'll see here is the quick turnover. Easy outlet, boom, in the back, coming across the crease, fishing across his body. He just has so many different tricks in his bag. He can shoot it from the outside. He can be a facilitator. As we're seeing there off the bench, he's a threat in transition. I mean, there are not many weaknesses in this guy's game.
He's got one more year, does he not?
No, I believe this is his last year. I could be wrong, though.
Debuted in the bubble tournament as a 16-year-old. We'll figure it out. Just wondering when he's going to be near the top of the NLL draft list. Here's Janky to the far side. Merritt, and Kazik stands tall. Is poked away by a sprawling Beaches defender. Nearly picked up far side, and no time for a shot. But a big run late by the Beaches. They score 4 in 3 minutes and 21 seconds to take an 8-6 lead to the room.
Toronto Beaches will be a little more pleased with that effort and the execution in that 20, but you got to give credit to this Brampton team. They will just not go away. It's been the athletic legs out the back door that has kept them tight in this game, and of course the pride of Montreal, Anthony Cidiolette, has been great inside the pipes as well, partner.
He sure has, holding this Beaches offense to just 8 through the 2 periods. Excelsiors unfortunately 2 behind. We'll see if they can catch up in the final 20. It comes your way in about 10 minutes. We'll take the time out here on Father's Day It's a feature game of the week in the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League.
Gatorade. With electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing.
Let's go, raise up one time, go get it, it's yours, let's shine, come on.
Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
You can catch the fun with lacrosse, Canada's national summer sport. Everyone can experience the excitement of lacrosse, where fun meets fitness and friends are made. Lacrosse is one of the youngest organized sports children can play. And with 66 clubs throughout Ontario, everyone can get in on the fun. Visit playlacrosse.com. Our interactive map will help you find a lacrosse club in your area. Join the Ontario lacrosse community today. Ask a parent before going online.
A second period that started pretty good for the Brampton Excelsiors. Actually gave them a lead by Caden Merritt on the power play with a quick stick down to the crease, but then Willem Firth shorthanded in transition. This has really been the Willem Firth show with 4 goals in the game, Patty.
Yeah, this one, short side, shorty, coming in transition, a beautiful one. He'll get another one in transition, but power play continued for Brampton, and it's going to be Nolan Marshall from up top. That silky release, high to low, beats Kazik, scoring on that power play. But once again, it's going to be the Beaches this time, coming from a left-handed stick. It's going to be Caleb Tatarik, just right on that hip of CD Alot, a great goal scorer's shot and finish. And this one might be the best assist of the game so far. McPherson having a great game, picks up his own loose ball, gets it over to Booth, somehow stays out of the crease. And look at the celebration from McPherson, all sorts of fired up. As we get another one in transition. That's going to be Friedman getting his second of his junior career. And stop me if you've heard this before. Willem Firth in transition. Going to get this one in tight on the crease. Finishes across. And he's been absolutely electric in this game. We'll find up here another transition goal, as that one was the last one we'd see there, as Gabriel Kashera catches in. That's how we stand at 8-6.
Big collision off the face-off between, Sheldon Broughton and Jacob Janke. Officials are going to talk about this. Oh, there's Janke from behind. I think the 5 for high stick. Owen Tassi. So the third period, starts the way the second did, with the Excelsiors on the power play. They can score 2 on this major. Renault to Jackal to Merritt in the corner. They go against the grain, looking to Janke in the corner off his stick, and a waste opportunity there for Brampton. Kazik wants to head it all the way down floor, nearly on the money. To Mander.
Couple of NLLers almost connecting on that one. Mander playing with Calgary this past season. We talked about Kazik and his run with the Rush. Pretty remarkable. 2 NLLers in this lineup as key contributors, obviously.
Jackal and Marshall playing catch. They'll get Knox involved now. Marshall, the no-look shot, just wide. Trying to remember the last time 2 OJLL goaltenders, now practice roster backup guys, all of that included, opposed each other in the NLL finals.
Great point.
Kazik with the Saskatchewan Rush. And Evan Constantopoulos of Orangeville, who we saw, I was going to say the other day, it was yesterday afternoon. The 2 Constantopoulos brothers facing off against each other in the archives on Father's Day weekend. If you want to check the playlist, get caught up on any of the action this season. McPherson from the outside, a good one between Orangeville and Oakville yesterday, a 2-goal difference in that one. Spoiler alert, Orangeville taking the win.
Brampton recognizing last power play, they were just taking away the top, that's the Beaches, is from Marshall. So instead now they get him over to the shooting position. We'll see if they try to free him up.
Merritt towards the crease, and that's the second chance on this power play that it's just bounced off the stick of Janke. Kazik out of the crease, and we can hear from here what he thought of that pass that just skipped wide of Firth. And if you didn't hear, I can't tell you. Janke will slow it down. He'll start with the ball now. Nearing the halfway mark of this major power play. I don't even think the Excelsiors have a shot yet. Marshall to Renault. They'll get one now off the bar. And it's going to bounce right to the absolute wrong guy. Firth in transition. Bounced it wide. Callum Witter couldn't bring it down initially, but Perhaps a break for the Excelsiors because number 14 doesn't miss that very often.
No, he does not. Almost a hat trick of transition goals for him to go with his 2 other 5-on-5 markers.
Marshall and Merritt keeping it high. Marshall goes to the shooter spot, and Kaizek went with him, makes the stop. 2 minutes left here in the power play. 3 gone in this third period. Tyler Renner Francis. Gonna circle back through the middle and nearly caught Setalot. Last second split save. Nolan Marshall on hat-trick watch here. He's already got 1 on the power play. Merritt with the ball now has the other power play marker. Little sidearm rip off the arm there of Kaizek. Nice pass to find Peterkin on the slant route. Minute 18 left to go in the power play. Not much doing for Brampton here in this 5 minutes. Which I'm not sure if that's more deflating for the home side who's down or more energizing for the visitors who are up 8-6 after 2.
Can I pick option C? A little bit of both. I think
absolutely,
certainly
Coach.
It is demoralizing for your offense, for your power play. But yeah, it does add a little juice. But luckily for them, hey, you can't get too frustrated. You still got about 40 seconds left to at least get 1 on the board.
Now, if the result was the other way this afternoon, I may not value your opinion as much, but
they call on a face mask here.
And Riley O'Connor is not happy about it as one of the top power penalty killers is going to go off.
We'll see, tied up here. There's a bit of a tug there.
Hands to the face, 10 yards. Second 5-on-3 of the game in favor of the Excelsiors. They'll keep a man up high. Marshall's shot wide. Bounces straight back here to Warnarski. He'll feed it to Firth. Only 12 seconds remaining in the what was a 5-minute major. Excelsiors will then go to their 6th power play of the game. Lubinecki. Under 10 to shoot. Not that they cared too much. Will take one. Oh, boy. That one had some soccer styles written all over it. The Toronto bench wanted a back-in call. Not going to get it with Knox close to the crease. And Peterkin pressure on the far side forces the 8-second count. And now Firth running in. Shoots high over top of the net. They do give him a reset. It must have hit some piece of Setalot. As now De Silva comes running in. This is a traditional 5-on-4 power play now with the 5-minute major expired. Warnarski slams on the brakes. Beaches can't take all of the remaining 40 seconds. They've got 15 left in their shot clock, but can put Brampton in a big hole here. Lubinecki being chased all the way down to the corner. Blondin was there, as was Witter. It'll be Janke that'll carry it up with less than 20 to go here on the latest power play. Excelsiors were 2 for 4 coming into this latest 5-on-3. Robbins to Renault. Merritt. Janke looks off the man in the corner. Vivieros trying to go quick stick. It'll work to Merritt, who has tons of room. And a riser there as Kaizek was down to his knees.
7 minutes of penalties just killed off. You want to talk about giving some juice, some life to a bench that is going to absolutely fire up this Beaches team.
Peyton Booth. They were trying to find a cutting Willem Firth, just missed. It's back to McPherson. Everybody clears out of center. Liam Aston now trying to go back in Firth's direction. Intercepted by Kublinskis. No lane to the net this time, so he'll just slow it down and give to Jackal. And you could almost sense a goal coming after that penalty kill, just sort of waiting for it to happen on the next Beaches possession. Brampton from the outside, and as we say that, every time Brampton gets the ball offensively, you feel like they need one. Chase Smith back to the crease. Lubinecki down to a knee, rolls out, and there was no one on the near side to pick it up except for De Silva in a white jersey. Marshall waiting for assistance. Robbins back to Renault. Merritt will clear room for him, although two Beaches defenders chase him the long way around the crease. Riley Knox down to 10 as Merritt turns and fires. That hits a Beaches defender. Back down towards the corner. Looking for Robbins. And the shot clock expires against the Excelsiors. Inside of 2 minutes before the halfway mark of this third period. Beach's defense have really clamped down here. Peyton Booth from the outside. Seti Lott will close the 5-hole and make the catch with the big summer stick. Janke. Through Nathan Smith. He'll head off now. As Viveiros takes the ball. Onto the floor, Alex May. Straight to the center to throw a screen. Perhaps for Merritt, who has the ball now. Spins off pressure, 10 to shoot. And it's just a change up in on Kazik, who makes the clean catch and is looking all the way down floor. Francis Renner was there, but bounced over his head, and now Witter will try and send it back the other direction. Kublinskis, Marshall. A little bit of movement through the middle with Viveiros, who had it back to Renault. No room for Renault to shoot. Marshall, no look, quick stick. Robbins, and it's underneath Kazik, and looked like he wanted a water break, but the official's not going to give it to him.
It's been a couple times now he's been left off for the water break. Hey, I know we're up here. We're in the broadcast booth. I'm feeling a little bit spicy up here too, so I can only imagine him.
Brampton Memorial Arena, my friend. Not sure if you're familiar.
Ooh, I'm familiar with its game, and it's hot.
Outside Firth. Had room to look. Seti Lott and thinks he's got it underneath him. It's in the corner, and lucky for him, so was Callum Witter.
And Thomas Kazik he's very familiar with this arena as well. Won a Founders Cup championship with Nepean.
Brampton trying to blindly throw it to the far side. It's Peterkin running in. Covered by Owen Scott. And, I mean, we've played almost 3 minutes since Kazik asked for that water break. Not 2, I guess. Jackal to Marshall. Either way. Working it down through Viveiros. On the run, off Kazik, back to Marshall, who will bring it down. Jackal. Big high step, he'll turn back, shovels it in Merritt's direction. He'll bring it down, turns and shoots. Rising off the end glass, falls at the feet of Francis Renner. Off to the races, but by himself. Throws it blindly over his back to Wynarski. He'll give it to Firth, who waits for McPherson. Lubinecki trailing him off the bench. Last one out, there's Booth. Over to Willem Firth. All alone on that left side. Quick stick as it came back to Aston. Seti Lott with the save. And it goes over and back, and still no water break for the goalies here.
I am dumbfounded just with Firth, even not just thinking of making that pass or making the pass, but being able to get that through all the traffic. Just the audacity to make that pass.
Straight down Main Street is Friedman, already with one tonight. Thought we were getting a souvenir, Patty.
I was ready. I was ready.
Glad you were. Your playing days a lot more recent than mine are.
Oof. Why do you think I'm on the bench, partner? His body can't take it anymore.
In the corner, Nolan Marshall. Off the tip of the stick of Merritt as they came back near side. Screen there on Merritt will open space for Chase Smith. He had no shot with Maseko in front of the net. They'll go to Willem Firth in the offense instead. Firth tries to cut the corner on Kashera. Goes back for seconds. Here's Lubinecki now. To the corner, looking for Booth. No shot to Tarek. Finds the cutter at Aston. Off the post, and it comes straight back out to the captain, Willem Firth.
A great play, great execution, just ball not able to find the back of the net. Aston has been absolutely snake bit here, especially in the third period.
Aston to Tarek. Lubinecki. Change up through traffic. Lindley caught Sedilot. And they'll go to the outside wing now for Owen Scott. Trailing is Vivieros. Closing in on 7 minutes left to go. Knox. Outside Renault will slow things down, waiting for Merritt to come off the bench. Jackal sets the screen. Past the outside boards for Knox. Here's Jackal from long range. That falls Francis Renner, but it's going to cause a shot clock. Francis Renner hobbling his way to the bench. Meanwhile, Owen Vivian down floor was out there with Maseko, who shot. Resets the clock. And now Wojnarski will bring it down for his offense. McPherson. Had thoughts of running around Nathan Smith to Tarek. Back to McPherson. Cuts the corner. Bouncer. Soccer Moms 2, me 0. Turnover at center, the over and back, and the quick run out by the Beaches kicked out by Sedilot. That pass directed at Austin Owens, I thought. Either him or Gracie. Here's Hiltz. Next. Firth. As Lubinecki trailing the play. Halfway through the shot clock. Booth to Tatarek. Now for Firth. Couple steps backwards. Sends it to the corner. They give and go with Firth. They go back up to Tatarek. Nicely done by Lubinecki, but then it came back out in front. And Sedilot matches all comers.
Sedilot has been fantastic. Was the Brampton Junior B starter last year. Coming in here, an opportunity to play some A-ball. Backed up Marcus Medill for quite a bit, but he's earned his keep here tonight. I think after tonight's game, whether they win or lose, I think he's getting more starts.
They've almost gone back to back and forth, between Medill and Sedilot. Medill, part of the big trade deadline trade with KW and Orangeville. It was Connor O'Toole going up to the Northman. And Zach Richards, I believe, going back to KW, which left the Northman without a goaltender. Had to go out and get Evan Konstantopoulos, who is performing quite well with his new team. Push them over the 10-win mark. Becoming the first team to do that here in Ontario. Patty, there's only one spot up for grabs in the Minto this year from Ontario.
Yeah.
With the hosts making it in. As turning and firing Ethan Fines. That's the other part of what makes that conversation so interesting. Last two times in Ontario, it's been the two finalists.
Yep.
Which hasn't made for great TV in the OLA final, but
it'll be a dogfight in the final for this year. There's no doubt about that.
Robbins knocks outside Marshall. Janke will set the screen. Marshall shoots. Kaizek clean catch. He's just given up on the idea of water break now with only 4 left to go in regulation.
And I think the one thing we talked about the trade deadline, St. Catharines, I think, has absolutely no choice but to go out there and add a little extra to their roster. They got a solid roster, but if they want to, They know they're already there, but they want to do more than just be at the Minter. They want to win.
Firth up top. Booth kicked aside. Second chance crossbar. Pulled down by the Beaches still, though, and let's add one more caveat to it. Teams get an extra trade at the deadline this year. 3 instead of the 2 from last season. If you can find an extra dance partner. Willem Firth. Back to Booth. He does get the shot away. Rebound rolls far enough. Oh! C'est lot, c'est magnifique. Witter from center. Finds Robbins in stride. Merritt trailing the shot. Just missed the side post. Action heating up here inside 3 minutes to go in regulation. Beaches leading 8-6. Excelsiors have hung in there all night long as Firth puts it in the corner. Headed to the front of the net. Cachera went with him. Blondin's going to head over and pick up the ball. Lowers his shoulder. Crashes into Chase Smith. Now played back to Marshall. Deflects off the glass. Janke couldn't make the clean catch. It's all the way across to Renault. Halfway through the shot clock, Marshall headed back to the net. What a shot and an even better save from Kazik. McPherson. Lubinecki. Back towards the corner. Booth for Firth one more time. Popping out of the pile and shooting was Fines. Rebound Booth over top of the net. Smith brings the rebound down this time.
You hear Coach O'Connor down there screaming for a 30. He wanted his team to take the ball out, use the clock, not allow Brampton to get back down here, start chipping away into this lead.
90 seconds left to go. Counting possessions for the Excelsiors. One of them with Janke, and he touches down in the crease as he was sliding through. Only one timeout used in that second period, and as I say that, Toronto heads up call from Riley O'Connor. As him and the Beaches will call timeout here.
Incredibly headsy call there. There's the big stop and another one. Partner, I'm not going to be able to top your call, but how do you say stonewalled in French? Because
I don't know that one.
I had a feeling.
You got my entire French to English dictionary.
He has been outstanding this game. Big reason why this is a 2-goal spread right now is because of that man right there with an outstanding opportunity to come into this game against a top program in the Beaches, a Beaches team that, to be quite honest, they feel like that last win against KW could be a launching point for them from a confidence standpoint. They know they're right in the mix of things. They feel like a couple of those losses they've picked up could have flipped the other way. But this Brampton team, I know they are down at the bottom of the table. This is a resilient group, a gritty group, a athletic team that any night you come into this barn, or if they're on your home floor, they're going to give you a hard 60 minutes from start to finish.
Look at Pat O'Toole, of course. His son Connor here on Father's Day played last year. Ontario champion with Orangeville. Hope we get a chance to go through what was a crazy. He was playing for Rochester back in the day, but Buffalo's 2014 roster basically feeding this league at this point of the year. As we close in on a minute left to go, Beaches may give us an opportunity here. Riley O'Connor calls for the play. Aston down to the half boards. Firth was cutting through, and they couldn't find him. As the shot clock goes, the ball bounces the way of Witter. Played back up to Silva. Swarmed and stolen by Mander, who's going to flip it. And Wojnarski will beat the 8 count. Mander gets back up and he'll slow things down. Riley O'Connor wants no shot here. Screaming that from the bench with the last vocal cord he's got. He's still going to get a shot in the crease. Was Ethan Fines. And the timeout will let us go through the rest of that Buffalo roster. This is crazy, Patty.
Yes.
I texted you this earlier today. 2014 Buffalo Bandits included Sean Williams, of course. We know that he had Dyson, the number 1 overall pick, Rookie of the Year. Tucker would be playing in this league at this time, of course, for Sean Williams. Troy Cordingley was the head coach. His son Dylan playing in the league. Nephew Cade as well with the Orangeville Northmen. By the way, congratulations to Bryce, who played in the OJLL on his wedding yesterday. Mark Steinhaus played in 2014 with the Buffalo Bandits. Ari and Ty, his 2 boys, playing in St. Catharines. John Tavares, may have heard of him, played in Buffalo.
Yeah.
His son Justin is playing in Mimico. Good friend of the family, Steve Toll, as well, friend of the Williams family. Their son Zach playing in St. Catharines. Paul Stewart was a friend of that group. Son Tryson playing out in Whitby. If you're a fan of this league, thank the 2014 Buffalo Bandits. As Janky's shot. Good eat, don't rub it. His number 10 counterpart, Warnarski. Time winding down here, only a couple of seconds. It's going to ricochet back to Kazik. Scored last year and going to run out of time here this time. As this one's bombed all the way back down into the beach's end. I think just frustrating. Not sure if that was aimed anywhere specific. But a little aggression on the dump out there at the end of what is an 8-6. Toronto Beaches win. They'll pick up another one.
This Beaches team, when they get rolling, they are a confident group. They're a tough group to stop. I can firmly tell you that this is probably a group that's going to be busy next week. Riley O'Connor, the GM as well as head coach, going to be working the phones. He believes in this group. Obviously, anytime you have Willem Firth and Thomas Kazik in the lineup, you're going to be a team to contend. But again, tonight, certainly not the most impressive 60 minutes from this group, but they found a way to get it done, and you cannot knock the effort and the fight that this Brampton team showed. They are a last-place team, but when you watch them on the floor, this is a team that's going to give you a full 60 each and every night.
Take a look at a team like the Peterborough Lakers, perhaps Six Nations Arrows. This is where they were about 3 years ago, and where they are this year. That's where the Excelsiors are headed, and it's in the right direction. Thought it was hot tonight, Patty. Tuesday, we're headed to Orangeville. Mimico Orangeville, rematch of last year's OLA Finals. That is an 8 p.m. start time. KW in Six Nations at the ILA on Wednesday night. I don't think it's going to be a cool one out there either down the QEW. Be sure you're subscribed here to the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League YouTube channel so you won't miss any of the action all the way. Good to call a game with you again, partner.
This was fun. Thanks for having me. I appreciate hopping in with you anytime. It is a pleasure. It's a pleasure anytime to broadcast this great league. I know we are poised for a great summer. We're just starting to heat up, though. Trade deadline next week. And just with the way the standings are, this is going to be an absolute meat grinder to the finish to decide who's heading or who is heading to St. Catharines. We know one team is. Who's going to be the other team to do it?
Good luck in your playoffs as well.
Thank you very much, sir.
For Pat Gregoire, my partner, the JVI Sports Network producer and director. Producer Gary Morrison, sorry, Rachel. Director Rachel Wolf. The rest of the JVI Sports Network and the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League. I'm Matthew Carrick saying good night from Brampton. We'll talk to you Tuesday.